everyone, and welcome to this episode of Discovering Laguna Woods. I'm CYNDEE Whitney, and today we're going to be meeting two frontline workers who do very different things in service to others every single day. One is an ICU nurse, and the other is the president and CEO of South County Outreach. I know you'll want to stay tuned for this episode, so stay there, and we'll be right back with ICU nurse Jason Whitney. Well, hi, Jason. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm excellent. Excellent. It's a good day. And I'm really happy to be talking to you. I think as an introduction, I think I should say that you are a registered nurse, and you work in an ICU unit, which is intensive care.
Right.
You're not here really representing your hospital or your hospital system, so I'm not going to identify where that is, but I'm just going to ask you some questions about what it is like to be working in an ICU, and if you can talk about a little bit about what it's like right now. Would that be fair to say?
Sure. Yes, that's good.
All right, good. So what do you do on a typical day in an ICU? Who shows? I've never been a patient in an ICU unit. Is it somebody that's having, a catastrophic event or systems failure, or who typically in a normal day shows up as a patient in an ICU unit?
That's sort of the extreme end of the spectrum in terms of, people with shock or, end organ system failure, people that, they need to be on medicines that require constant monitoring to support like blood pressure or heart rate or heart function, people that are on ventilators, like mechanical breathing machines. And then, it kind of, there's a wide variety. I mean, some people don't have as extreme illness, but they need a lot of monitoring in terms of just their neurological function, or if they've had some certain surgeries where you have to just be continuously monitoring like how well that area is perfusing, or some people just have like extremes in blood sugar, and so you're administering like continuous insulin or dextrose, and you want to monitor their blood sugars continuously. So I mean, a wide range of people.
Well, let me ask you, how do you get that? I mean, it could be somebody is harmed in an accident, or somebody, or something happened to them, or it can be that there's just an event that happens in their body that or it could be post-surgical. So there's
Sure.
something that happens that causes them to need that extraordinary care. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, I mean, people don't check themselves into the intensive care unit.
There you go.
They are there sometimes unaware of arriving there. In fact, that's pretty common because they're usually in extremis when they come in.
Yeah.
And so, people often sort of wake up in that environment. And
Yes.
so it's there's a lot of reorienting with people sometimes.
I would think.
There's a wide range of coping abilities or just mentation that makes it challenging sometimes to keep people aware of what's happening and sort of bringing them back to normal. So.
Right, and keeping them from being extremely upset for finding themselves in that environment. Let me. Now, how long have you been a nurse? It's
14 years. It's about 14 and a half years. And I started in intensive care in a trauma ICU, and that was my main specialty for about 5 years. And then I moved into sort of a float role where I see pretty much everything that my employer cares for in intensive care. I will, the majority of those patients I will see. As a float nurse, you lose sometimes some of the specialization. So, some of the more technical, life support measures that some places do. I don't do anymore, but that's
So there may be a pediatric specialization in
yeah,
cardiopulmonary.
that's not me though. But there
No,
are
but I'm just saying that you could specialize in different things.
sure, and even among adults, there's some places deal with just in general at hospitals. Intensive care units would deal with like heart surgery patients or
Yes.
any other cardiac patients, and then neurological or stroke or neurosurgery patients, and then other more generalized populations.
Now, I have to think that this is stressful. I know that you work nights. When you said you're float nurse, I think that means it's kind of like you're on call and you work within a larger system, perhaps, and you do work nights. So that
Right.
probably is an additional hardship to what you're doing.
It is and it isn't. I mean, day shift versus night shift have, they both have pluses
Sure.
and minuses, but
Yeah.
I'm sort of used to it at this point,
Yes.
working nights. And I mean, it's become less stressful as time goes by. And, some of that is just my sort of comfort level of myself. And then just being, I guess, comfortable and familiar enough with my coworkers to rely on them and trust them. And I think that helps mitigate a lot of worry, knowing that
Yes.
I'm part of a competent and caring team everywhere I go. And so that makes my job a lot easier.
But I know that level of intensity in your work has to be balanced somehow with your life. I know you have a fun life. You have. Tell us about your family.
Yeah, I think that's an allure of nursing for a lot of people is that you have a lot of free time and you can, do fun things, if you have a family with them or otherwise. So here in our home, I have my wife, Rachel, and we have two boys that are now in 10th grade and 6th grade. They both go to the same school, actually, because it's an arts and academics school that covers 6th through 12th grade. And so I guess, they're the 6th grader is technically in middle school, but he hasn't actually set foot there yet.
Yes.
But I think this year has been a little bit more fluid and well put together than the end of last year, which was challenging for teachers and parents and students.
Sure.
And so, go ahead.
No, I was going to ask you, and I know that, see, I can say all of these things about you because I've probably known you, I have known you longer than anybody else has because you're my son. See, I told you I had a television show.
I've known you more than anybody else.
That's true. But what I want to bring up is that you are also an artist and a foodie, and I think that your art that you do murals, for the kids, and you're just sketching all the time, and you're always doing these wonderful paintings. And hopefully you'll provide me with some of those things so I can share them with the audience. Does that help you balance the stress of your work?
Sometimes, I think. Yeah, I think sometimes it takes my mind off things. Sometimes it's more of a mental commitment that I'm willing to put up. Sometimes, I mean, you have to sort of get into a different mind space to do that, and it's not something I always afford time to do. But yeah, I think the routine of this sort of home life it takes my attention away a lot, and I guess it's stressful on a lot of levels, but it is less stressful than being at work sometimes. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
I have to ask you a direct question now because we are where we are. What can we all be doing to make your job easier and to not show up where you work, basically? I mean, what would you like us to be doing?
Well, I mean, I guess if you need to show up, then that.
I know. Let's. What are some of the cautionary things we can do?
I will speak on behalf of everyone I work with, and what, our employer advocates is that people wear masks and that they practice good hand washing and maintain social distance and pretty much things that will lessen points of contact with the coronavirus. Like any other communicable disease, that's the strategy. It's not any different with this than anything else. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of straightforward. If it was any other thing, and you would turn to, epidemiologists and doctors and get their advice, and it's pretty much the same thing. So.
Well, and before I close out, because our time is short, it's not too late to get a flu shot, is it?
Absolutely not. No, I mean,
Okay.
they've lengthened flu shot season. So anytime between October 1st and the end of March, it might even be into April sometimes, because sometimes flu season starts off pretty slow and then it picks up well into the following year in the wintertime. So I strongly advocate for getting a flu shot. I used to not believe in it, and then I really coming to see it firsthand. I do.
Works.
Yeah.
I got mine. I don't typically end my interviews. As a matter of fact, I've never ended an interview this way, but I will end this one this way and call you sweetie, because you're my sweetie, and tell you how proud I am of you and how much I love you, and I want you to be safe. And so I want everybody to follow all the rules so that our frontline workers, such as yourself, will be able to get home every night and take care of their families. So
thank you. Well, I'll be safe when everyone else is safe. So
that's right.
Thank you for spreading the word.
We're all in this together. I keep saying that. I have a sign in my front yard that says we're all in this together, because we are. So
we are. Yeah.
Thank you, and I'll talk to you later.
All right.
Okay, sweetie. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Hi, LAVAL. How are you today?
I am excellent. And yourself?
Oh, I'm just great. I'm so happy to be speaking with you. You are one of the busiest people around. You have so much work to do, and you're doing it so well. So, you haven't been the president and CEO of South County Outreach for very long, have you?
No, I've only been in the leadership role since June the 1st. So I still get a few more months of saying I'm not quite sure what I'm doing, or give me a couple minutes to figure that out. But other than that, I've got a great team that has been able to support me in this process.
Well, I looked a little bit in your background, and I see that philanthropic work is not unfamiliar to you, nonprofit work, community development. So it seems like you are called to community service. What in you calls you to help in this way?
It's a great question. When I was starting out in my nonprofit career back in 1985, when I started to work for the Westchester YMCA as a young child care assistant and a camp counselor, I grew up in the Y and was quickly indoctrinated into the understanding of small communities. That the way that we live ourselves in small communities, cities, clusters of cities, counties, really kind of bring the opportunity for local nonprofits, government, and residents together to be good, to do good work. And it just resonated with me.
That's such a good point. I think having an opportunity like South County Outreach, which has been in existence for about 31 years, I think it's not new to Orange County. It provides an opportunity, as you say, for people to do good work, to show up, to mentor people, to model behaviors that other people can see, to help people understand people care about you. We're not anonymous people that just exist somewhere around you. We care about you, and we want to help you. So I think it's an opportunity for people to show up and engage that way. So I think it's terrific. You do a lot of things too. Tell us some of the things that you do provide at South County Outreach.
So while I've only been here since June, we've started to kind of shift. Oh, there goes my phone. How exciting.
Busy man.
You know, we do a couple of things, but we're starting to boil it down into three core areas. First of all, we're about making sure that our residents and our community members are not hungry. And secondly, we're all about making sure that those same people who are not hungry have a place to call home. And we're supporting individuals and families to stay within that span, that they don't go hungry and they have a place to call home. We do that in three very focused areas. One, we have a homeless prevention program that is supported through the state, the cities, and the counties that allows us to help pay the rent for an individual or a family who is behind in their rent payment and who meets some income guidelines. That's a blessing to a good number of families who just have some short-term pain and need some help to make sure they don't get evicted so that they stay out of the homelessness system. Secondly, our food program, our food pantry here in Irvine, same thing. It's all really about ensuring that families do not go hungry. And that ability for us to bring volunteers together to help families feel as though they're shopping at a regular grocery store, although there's no bill at the end, is critically important to a core value of ours around dignity and respect. Because no one wants to go to a food bank. No one says, "Hey, let's go shopping. Let's go to the food bank." So we want to make sure the dignity and respect that we have in our food pantry makes someone feel as though they're whole and that they're not less than. And our volunteers and our staff do an amazing job of helping families find food that's right for their family. And then the third is around education. We used to have a computer learning program. We're now expanding that to education and knowledge. You know, when you think about a family who is trying to navigate all of the complexities of the world, including housing and food and children and all these other things, there are times when families get a lot of communication, education from their own family or from a mentor or a friend. And sometimes that education they get is financial information because they've had a relationship in that space. But there's a good number of people who do not get the financial education they need to make good decisions around their housing and around their food. So for us, we want to be that organization that provides families and individuals with the information they need to make good decisions. Things like, why do you have a lease? And why is savings really that important? And how do you go about creating a realistic budget when you don't really think you have enough money to create a budget in the first place? And why are those things important? So we're working around those three core areas of homeless prevention, food insecurity, and knowledge.
I love that. I love on a couple of different points of what you just said with respect to food that is provided. You provide healthy foods because you need healthy bodies, healthy minds to do their best. It's not just eating and consuming something so that you're not hungry. It's that you're feeding yourself and feeding your future. And the other thing, I was so pleased when I saw that you had a type of workforce development. Toshiba, I guess, it gave you some computers a while back. And I saw that and I thought, this is amazing. This is teaching that person skills, whether it's job search skills, or how to fill out a resume, or how to approach somebody about getting a job, how to represent yourself. That resume is the embodiment of you. How do you fill that out so that person holds you in their hand and sees your potential? So there's so many things that you can do to help that person get started. And when you said financial, I thought back on all the stupid mistakes that I made as a young person. When I started out, I didn't know the first thing about budgeting and, how to balance, the money that was coming in and the money that was going out. And those are really tough lessons that we learn over time. And if we can mentor someone about that and short circuit that, all those mistakes you can make, that's a wonderful thing. They have enough things to worry about. And I noticed on your website, you're telling us in real time who's homeless out there in our county: families, youth, veterans. This is real. it's at a very bad time right now. Tell us about what's happening right now.
Sure. So for our area of the county, South County, we have the smallest homeless population of the county. But I think that the interesting thing about that is, it's not that we have the smallest homeless population. We also have a good number of people who don't feel as though they would ever be in a situation where they could lose their home or be kicked out of their house or not have enough money. So there are times when in our part of the county, pride really enters into the conversation, and in some cases pushes people into a place to where they have a point of no return. So for us, what we're seeing is we're still seeing a significant number of people who are at food insecurity. That food insecurity ranges from seniors, families, individuals, and obviously those who are homeless. We're also starting to talk to our high school and college groups around high school homelessness and high school food. College homelessness and food insecurity. That's 16 to 24-year-old who really is just starting out, and in some cases are on their own. So these issues are here. We may not see the homeless as prevalently as we see them in our county to the north, but I will tell you that the homeless population is hurting in our South County area, and we all need to do something, because we believe as a South County outreach that everyone should have a place to call home.
Yeah.
And we just want to make sure that that's possible for those who want to participate in that process with us.
Yes, and you do have a very comprehensive website, so if people want to know more, and I hope that they do want to know more about what we're talking about today. You specifically say things that you do need. You need cribs and children's books and blankets and cleaning supplies and then skills and talents, people that are handy with tools and people that can do an oil change or car repairs or accounting skills. And you really delineate, here are some things that if you have these talents, we can use you. Maybe some of those people can work from home, or maybe I don't know how you set it up with with the social distancing and so forth. I'm sure you're very conscious of that. So, but the other thing that I wanted to mention is that we have some folks over here who have done some programs, food drives and care kit drives for the homeless for specific things. And it was a short term, let's just do this. Let's get 500 kits, or let's get 800 kits, or let's get backpacks for kids. That's doable. I was telling wonderful Sue and Richard Snyder, I said, these are little chunks that we can participate in. We can do this. Sometimes this seems overwhelming, but if you give us a short project like that, we can really, dig into it. So keep doing those types of things. I think that works for us.
Yeah, we want to make sure that the residents who want to engage and support their community members and their neighbors, that it's easy for them to do that. And those who have a little bit of time can give it a little bit of time, and those who have a little bit more time or more resources can lean into those more time, more resources as they determine. But everyone has a place, and everyone has a part to play in helping us make sure our families stay without food insecurity and have a home over their heads.
Well, we absolutely want to help all of our Orange County neighbors, anybody that needs our help. There's some way that we can participate in making their lives easier and making them more successful in life. And so I thank you and your whole staff and all of your volunteers that come there every day to help out for doing such an incredible job. We appreciate you, we support you, and we will be doing what we can to help you as well. So LAVAL, I thank you so much for coming on today. You are amazing, just like your little backdrop there. and I hope to talk to you again very soon.
Thank you for having us on. This is my Hunger Hero. We have 100 more out there trying to make it possible for our families. Really appreciate you spending time with me today.
Absolutely. We'll see you soon. Take good care.
All right. Have a great day.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye. Thank you for joining us today as we spoke with LAVAL brewer and Jason Whitney, two special people applying their exceptional talents to extraordinary challenges. Thanks for watching us on Village Television on Wednesday and Sunday mornings at 9:30 a.m. And you can watch us anytime on Village Television YouTube. Please be sure that you take good care of yourselves and take care of the people around you, because we are all in this together. And we'll see you real soon. Bye-bye. Take care.